final thing today, our big question of the day. So our big question of the day, we're coming off the Open, is what is your Open review? And I think there's a lot of good. I think there's always some things that you can improve on. But I know just from a personal standpoint, I enjoyed the 2 workouts that I was able to do. I really wanted to do the third one. I was really contemplating just taping the thing up and going, but I didn't think that would be the wisest decision as far as long-term health and fitness is concerned. But it is definitely, I got to do Friday Night Lights for the first time at my affiliate NC Fit. And it has definitely rekindled my joy and my love of being in an affiliate, in a class setting, working out, throwing down with friends. And it's something that I'm going to make a commitment to doing a lot more here in 2024. But I think for me, there was more good than bad, which I think is a good thing. I thought that they did a very good job of making the workouts accessible, simple. I like the fact that they got rid of the floor plans. I mean, I understand why they wanted to institute that in the first place, but I think for the Open, it was probably unnecessary. So I'm glad they pulled that back. I mean, that first one, all you need is a dumbbell and about, 10 square feet of space, and you could pull it off. It's made it really easy for affiliates. Second one was pretty simple too. You just needed a rower and a barbell and a jump rope. And that was it. Really simple. And then that third one was even easier, just a rig and a barbell, things that all gyms have.
Easier.
Well, yeah, I mean, easier
in layout. Yeah.
Easier. But yeah, I thought that they did. I thought it was fun. I mean, I'm with Tommy. I missed the old 5-week Open because I just like more opportunities to compete. And I always felt after week 3, I'm like, all right, I'm in the groove now. Here we go. And now it's over. But overall, I did like the fact, I think the theme here was simplification, and I think they pulled that off.
Yeah, keeping in mind that it seemed, and we talked about this on Death By this past week, but without CrossFit openly saying that the Open this year, the North Star for them was the best experience for affiliates, I think they hit the nail on the head with that, with accessibility, ensuring that athletes felt like they could do these movements without the risk of no reps. Really, I'm trying to think of the movements, and it was very cut and dry. I say with the exception of like thrusters getting below parallel, but it was very obvious if you had a rep or not, which is also, I mean, these are people in the community that are judging each other who don't have a lot of experience. So I think just for like easeability for a class structure, these were really good. You could run multiple people in heats. So when it comes to the community and putting the affiliate first for the Open, I think they hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, from a programming standpoint, it was very balanced between monostructural weightlifting, gymnastics. You had a simple couplet that was hard, where effort did make a difference. You had a long
engine.
You had a longer triplet, one task and time priority on both, between the two. And what on the triplet, like pacing and structure and understanding of how to like manage the time domain made a huge difference as well. And then you had something that was a nice blend of kind of having to hammer a little bit but understand your pace, because you do get the break in the middle, and then a back end of heavier, more skilled to kind of close out the Open. Now, granted, I'm not going to pretend like it's this huge complete test of fitness, but I think as far as like an opening round for a cohort of 350,000 people, I think they did a pretty darn good job, and making it accessible, like you said, for affiliates to run multiple heats and maybe even be able to run multiple iterations of it in a class time. I think Open programming in general, like the approach to it, I think from the casual people, the people that just love this Monday morning quarterback, to me, it's become very much like the dunk contest. Everybody's like, oh, there's nothing novel anymore. Like nothing blows my mind about this programming. Like, it's like, yeah, after a certain point, there's only so many like 360 between the legs that you can do. You can only jump over Shaq so many times before you just have to like acknowledge that, hey, they've done a lot of novel stuff. Now we just got to slam the ball through the hoop. And I think that's what the Open programming does here. And I talked to more people and had feedback from more people in the last 5-6 years, probably, that felt jazzed up about being able to participate in the Open workouts and what came out of it on the other end. Because you still looked up and you still saw that there was oceans between you and the elite athletes, which is a reality and should be shown on the leaderboard in
Yeah.
their performances. But at the same time, they also felt like, hey, we're still doing the same workout as them.
Mhm.
I'm still putting in a same level of effort. My capacity is different. And I'm still taking something different away from it for me relative to my skill. And a lot of people forget that was what the Open is about. On top of being that stepping stone towards finding the fittest, which I think we've still made that step forward.
Mhm.
It I programming wise, I really liked um this
Yeah.
this year's iteration between I would have liked to maybe see it a part A, part B in the last one. That's honestly splitting hairs just because I like more data points in the end. I'm not really of the mind that I've kind of thought about it more. I'm not really of the mind that a single modality test would have fit there either.
Mhm.
But I just know that Gen Pop likes to test their lifts under,
Yeah.
competition so they can maybe hit a PR. But I talked to plenty of people that got their first chest to bar, their first bar muscle up, that strung
Mhm.
double unders together for the first time.
Mhm.
They did more thrusters than they've ever done at a certain weight, and um, or they'd never even finished Fran, and somehow they finished chest to bar Fran, and like all this stuff that came about of it anyway. So I thought that was very good, and I think that was, if there was something to bank on from the Open, that is it.
Yeah.
That is the thing you hang your hat on.
I mean, there
Well,
weren't.
and
Go ahead, Rutland.
no, and just another note, I also think that looking at it through the lens of 25% move on to the next
Yeah,
stage,
for sure.
that makes me okay with the programming. If
Mhm.
you were only taking 10% to now move to the next stage, I would have very different feelings on the programming.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and we're efforting getting Adrian Bosman on to talk about that very thing. It's like once you're taking 25%, there's a lot of cans you can kick down the road uh, to test. And I think then to me, what the goal is accessibility. Like, hey, let's make this as fun as for as many people as we possibly can. And week 3 had that more than the other workouts, where it was like, hey, everybody can play right here, but this is where the elite are really going to separate themselves. Like if you're wondering how far you're going to get in the second part, you ain't elite. If you're wondering how fast you're going to finish it, you're elite.
and
Yeah.
let's make no bones about it. They were still hard tests.
Yeah.
I was
That
crumpled.
first one was brutal.
Yeah,
That was
I
so
saw.
bad.
Now Sean's not much for hip hop dancing, but I know he got a little stanky leg there on that on
That was
his
the
final
beginning of the
round.
knee problem because I couldn't push off my right leg. Like that's where that started. So yeah, I like
Aw.
missed it.
And I saw so many people be like, "Oh, the second workout wasn't that hard." I'm like, "Well, yeah, then why'd you basically slow up on the rower,
Right.
halfway
It's as
through?
hard
Why?"
as you wanted it to be.
Right.
Exactly. And then the last one, I mean, there's I hate to use him as an example, but he always he teaches and we learn. Good old Uncle Pat, just
Mhm.
going full send, and he posted the video of him just having a complete meltdown on that workout.
Yeah.
Like there was opportunity for those to be very, very hard. And as with any workout in your affiliate across the history of your time at CrossFit, you can make it as hard as you
Mhm.
want or not, if it's programmed well. And I think that was part of it.
Now, this with all this being said, like I said, there are many more positives than negatives. There are still some things I was like, oh man, and most notably the fact that a workout got leaked by your own hand week 3, and
Yeah.
that's a shame because I felt like Lauren was there, and I know you didn't know, and I didn't want to tell you because I have been on site when you know that the workout is out there, and it ruins. It's like you're like, well, what are we doing here now? Why are we doing this now? And I think that probably impacted the viewership, at least live. Right? They've made
Mhm.
up some of that now on views after the fact. But
It's a
that just
bummer because they run such a tight ship
Mhm.
in regards to, like, making sure the right people know the right things and the flow, and, I mean, the open announcement is a really, really big deal. If
Mhm.
you're part of that process, it is a big deal, and they try to make it so perfect, which they should. So
Mhm.
then to have something like that happen, it's just like, "Oh, we held the standard for everything else, but why did this one fall short?" And it just it dampens it, you
Yeah.
Mhm.
know?
Well,
Mistakes happen, we're people, but it's like, "Oh, this happened 2 years ago too."
Right, and then we had to go out and put on the whole song and dance like we didn't know it was out there,
I'm
which
so
is why
glad I didn't know.
that's the thing. Like I was like, ooh, and then I was thinking about saying something. I go, you know what? It's probably best that I don't.
yeah, it's because then even you acting as if it's not there yet is still more authentic because you just don't know. And
Right.
but
Mhm.
to me, it's like that sucks, right? Like
Mhm.
the And it would be understandable if this was a first or if this was like a rarity in the last few years, but this stuff has been happening. And the it in this instance, the lack of discipline and execution from the responsible party and whatever, and I don't know, is there accountability for that? Because we've talked about this before. If they put the fear of God into you if you leak anything like that,
Oh,
I guarantee you, if one of us leaked that, so long,
God. Yeah.
not working with you
I
anymore.
would be at Starbucks right now
I've seen it
making
happen.
coffee.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen.
we've seen it like something like that gets word around and gone.
Mhm.
So it's and maybe it's not even accountability is the word, but is the transparency around the process, because this isn't like an isolated thing where we have confidential information for this singular part of the season and then we're good, open book, the rest of the way.
Mhm.
This season is and the history of this season has largely been built on a series of confidential information throughout the entirety of the calendar year.
Mhm.
And you need to have trust in that system to make sure that that's not going to come out and create an unfair advantage for anyone that participates, right?
Yeah.
And while the unfair advantage isn't as pronounced here in this instance, it's almost like a setup and a building point where we're going through the evolutions of this. So when we get later on down the line, it's second nature, right?
Yeah.
And there's no question of if these leaks or anything like that is going to happen. So to me, it's like such a big bummer because you
Mhm.
were right there.
Yeah,
Like you
that's I
were
was like,
right there.
when that came out, I went, "Oh, man, you were on the 5-yard line, and
And
you
it's
just fumbled it out of the end zone," you
and
know?
it's such a simple mistake and oversight that it's like, all right, well, who's in charge of publishing these? Like, who's responsible for that? Because and how do we know and find out and have faith in that as a community around that taking forward? If I were the athletes, I would be lobbying to be like, hey, we got to make sure we can trust you guys to run a fair competition with this regard. Everything else looks good,
Yeah.
but
And look, in fairness to CrossFit, it's like their views are there now. Like these videos are getting a ton of views, so
yeah,
they can
I-
still point to that and say we still pulled it off effectively. It didn't have that big of a now concurrent live. I think it did have an impact, but overall, after the fact, I don't think it did.
well, yeah. The concurrent live was also hampered by the fact that the stream went down 3 or 4
Yeah, that was
times.
unfortunate too.
It's
But
uh,
those are like those are technical things that you think should be able to get fixed. I think from an overall, just like, was it fun? Yes. Did I enjoy watching the matchups? Yes. Uh, and that's really all I think at this 5 minutes, given what the open is. What more are you looking for? And look, I love the fact that they got people like Seth Rollins involved.
mhm.
I would have liked to have seen him maybe week 3 in front of a bigger crowd. I thought that would
Yeah,
have been a more effective use of it. But the
Yeah.
fact that they did it, the fact that
Yeah. It
they
was
did it is
cool.
awesome.
yeah,
They got in Jocko Willink. So the like that stuff, trying that stuff, bringing in broader audiences, full marks for that.
yep,
I
agreed.
mean, I'm gonna knock them a little because they should have got Schmidt for week 3 if I had my
Oh, that's
pick.
that's a personal thing for you. That's
That is a personal knock, is that is
there's
really
a
my
lot
one.
of like
Jocko's
there's
great.
a lot of stuff here I hope they continue to do in the future. And I know like,
Yeah,
some people didn't like Seth Rollins. I thought it was fantastic. Like
yeah,
I thought
so did I.
Taco was great. Would have liked
Yep,
to see him actually be there live, but that was clearly on tape. Hopefully, I'm not
yeah,
spoiling any industry secrets there. But I love the fact that they tried it. I really do, like, full marks. And there's, and then the flip side of that, golden barbell thing, I think didn't live up to what it was supposed to be. It was just an extra thing in there. I do like
yeah,
the fact that they tried to include the community. They made like they honored members of the community. I still think that should have been called the Spirit of the Open Award, since they didn't get a golden barbell. But again,
or just give him a golden barbell.
something, I don't know. But I like the idea. Maybe the execution in my book wasn't the best, and I think the golden barbell, especially week 1, was super confusing for people.
Yeah, the execution in general for me is something that was a word that I circled.
Mhm.
Not necessarily when it pertains to like the workouts or like some of the bigger picture stuff, but like the execution of some of those, like you mentioned, the technical details. Like stuff that's been CrossFit's been doing this for what 10 plus years.
Yeah, but in there, like, I don't know the exact cause of that. There are some things that are just acts of God that are beyond your control. But when it happens more than once, that's a problem. It's like if it's the same problem that happens multiple times, you're giving me the
I am giving you
side.
this. How, how many times did you publish to YouTube switching private
Well,
or
okay,
yeah,
that's
like
different. I'm just talking about the stream going down.
yeah.
The
That's
stream
what I'm
going
talking.
down, that's less of a controllable.
Well, it
Because
depends. I mean, if it happens once and then you don't fix it and it happens again, now it's a problem. But if it happens one time, like act of God, exactly 4 times,
Yeah, and when the
3 and
gold
4 are definitely not.
yeah.
Those are preventable.
Well, like the golden barbell, like just felt like a half baked idea that was shoehorned in late, maybe because everyone we talked to was like the golden barbell is a great idea for the community. For the elite athletes,
Agreed.
doesn't make sense. Why are you going to make them do more workouts? Like,
and they don't
I
need another barbell in the
yeah,
nicest way. Like, they
Yeah,
don't
and it
need
was
another one. But, like, if I was a community member and I won a golden
hell
barbell,
yeah, that'd be
I
awesome,
I would be
right?
promoting the crap out of that. I would be, like, on cloud 9, and that would like, if I
Yeah.
didn't already have 100% buy-in from, like, the sport and the methodology and the business, you would have gotten it by giving me the golden
oh my god,
barbell.
I would walk that thing right into the middle of my affiliate and be like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah.
what
Oh,
what's the lift
yeah.
today, boys?"
Use
And
a
just
barbell. Got a new barbell. No big deal. Just move this
yeah.
stuff out here. Oh, it's gold. Yeah, just
Oh, hey,
got
sorry
one.
guys.
No big deal.
I know there's a little shimmer coming off this thing. You might want to put on some sunglasses while I lift here by the door.
No chalk on my barbell, by the way. Don't want to ruin the
Yeah.
sheen.
The
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
the 24 karat maintains its grip pretty well, so don't worry about it.
Just
Yeah.
so everyone knows it wasn't like actually made out of solid gold.
Yeah, I
But
know.
again, the good part of it, shine the spotlight on members of the community who are doing things the right way. Honor them. I thought that was great. Like that's cool to bring that element in. I just, from an execution standpoint, probably would have done it a little bit differently. But overall, the fact that you can increase registration up to 343, still moving in the right direction. 60% from outside the United States. There's a lot of stuff here that's to be proud about, I think, for CrossFit. And every year there's always stuff they can fix, and I think they certainly know what that is as we move ahead to 2025.
What would you give your final grade?
I give them a solid B, maybe a B minus, because I think that leak is a problem for me.
Yeah. The leak is a big issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like the show structure, like the creative show structure of some of the announcements were a little funky for me.
Yeah.
I felt like they were maybe trying to reinvent the wheel a little too much. But the golden barbell to me made it like solid B, maybe B plus. I think the leak really bothers me.
Yeah, it bothered me too because it was more of just I felt terrible for the people on site there because having been through that, like I know how that is. And it's one thing if someone like hacks you and finds out. That's still like you still need to have better security, but you're not the ones that messed that up at the end of the day.
Yep.
So, but again, I had a great time. It's going to get me back into an affiliate more. So I think mission accomplished overall. Lauren?
I'm looking at it through too many different lenses that contradict each other that I can't give it. I can't land on a grade, but I'm gonna do what they
Pass,
did
fail.
for the pass fail. It passes.
Okay.
Yeah.
By how much,
Agree.
I'm not sure. It depends, like, what hat I'm wearing. Because
Yeah.
it was my first live open announcement, and that to me, like, was a really, really, really cool moment. But then we talk about the workout leak, and that's like, oh. And then the athletes didn't get a golden barbell who were in the community, and that's like a. But the affiliate was really cool and accessible, so yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think I would say overall a lot more good than bad.
Yeah.
It's just the couple bad things were kind of glaring.
Yes, solid B. I think I've settled on a solid B. Also, I almost would give negative marks for Castro's handling of that chicken leg on the announcement. I mean,
You should have seen him practice
I don't
that.
know. Yeah, right. See, I told you he goes through all these motions and practices things. And
Oh, it was truthfully, that part was a real treat for me,
yeah, it's
is
fun.
watching him rehearse.
Yep. I told you. You definitely
So,
get an appreciation for how they pull those things off.
so honey, how was work today? Oh man, I almost nailed my chicken leg bite that I had to do on there.
But look, it was fun. Congratulations to everybody who's involved pulling those off, because I know it's not easy, and I know the community always enjoys watching those. And thanks to all the athletes who took part in them. And now it is time to move on to quarterfinals. So best of luck to everybody in quarterfinals. Hopefully those run smoothly and without any sort of controversy whatsoever.